Hello, everyone. Today we are going to talk with my friend Chirag. I don't know how long since I have known him, but he's an amazing person, first of all, and he's very active into ISV ecosystem of Salesforce. The prime reason I'm reaching out to him to join us as a guest because he is one of the early AppExchange innovators who has listed a paid app on AppExchange. Paid app game is little different from free app. There are many nuances which one should know. So we will try to take knowledge from Chirag on that angle. And with that being said, welcome Chirag. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Abhinav. As you rightly said, we know each other for a quite long while. Never got chance. I think probably this might be our first video call actually, where we are seeing each other and talking. Of course, we met
Right.
at various conferences. So good to meet you, and thanks for hosting me. Let's see how this goes.
Sure, sure. I don't know when we first met, maybe in JTF to 2017 or before that.
Maybe, yeah, probably that was the first, or maybe during Dreamforce, might be we might have met. So I
Right.
also used to go to Dreamforce, and maybe that's when we met. Yes, but in Salesforce ecosystem, probably for me also, it's been almost 17 years. So it's been a good long journey, as many say. For me, at least, that's true that I only know Salesforce and I don't know anything else, but I know everything almost of Salesforce. So that's a good way.
Correct, correct. No, I mean, that's a good thing, definitely, because then there is an expert play. But before we go into that direction, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, your company, and your app in a high level? Then we'll go into your app.
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name Chirag Mehta. As Abhinav rightly said, I've been into this IT space, or you can say Salesforce space in specific, for almost like 17 years. Initially, of course, started as a consultant or as an employee. And then after 5 years, probably in 2012, I started the Satran Technologies, which in almost now 12 years. The reason I started the company and moved from a consulting company was somewhere many people had this vision of an offshore company being the company where it's all about the lower rates and not about the quality. And secondly, there was no such product company. So those are probably the two big factors for me to leave and then start a company where I focus on building AppExchange apps as well as probably doing Salesforce implementation at a very good cost, or I would say good rates, and then of course providing on time and quality. So probably those is the reason, and it's been 12 years, good journey, both on the space of the ISV as well as on consulting, doing a good work, Satran. We've been actively building and publishing, you can say initially free apps, and then we learned the art or realized the potential of a paid app. So we have built and published quite few paid apps on the App Exchange. And it's been a really great experience.
Right, right. So how's your journey? Like you started job somewhere in Salesforce ecosystem, then decided to become a business person, or is it like
Yes, initially, of course, I was working in Tata Consultancy Services. So after I did a pass, once you cleared the engineering, you got those placements, and then we joined the Tata Consultancy, where I met my better half actually. So somewhere I'm thankful to TCS. So, that's where we both were working. Of course, I being the senior, and in TCS, I was able to work in Salesforce offices initially. TCS, so I used to work on Dreamforce app actually. Was always in the war room in Dreamforce. There's a war room. So for a couple of years, I was working in the Dreamforce portal of the team. And then I visited Germany, you can say Paris, and many consulting engagement I got as part of the way. And that's where I learned the art also. But somewhere I realized that you're a Rajasthani. So then you always have that business on your mind. Or probably there was other reason also. They wanted me to settle abroad, like in US, for obvious reasons. And then I had the share of mind to be in India for various reasons, for food, for family, the gatherings and everything. And so I thought, what's the best way then to earn money? I said, let's start a business. So that's it. I left TCS and started this business thing, and that's what it worked out. Yeah.
Correct, correct. No, for sure. So let's fast forward now. You have, I think, bunch of apps on AppExchange, and one of them is predominantly, I think, most popular one, metadata search.
Yes. So
what's the journey like?
Yeah, probably I'll first mention about the metadata search and then also about few other apps. So metadata search, as you rightly said, that was the first app that we published. and it was like in 2013. At
Mhm.
that point, there was no Salesforce India ISV team also, and I think actually there was a challenge in 2012 AppExchange app. That time it was not penetrated, so any marketplace would run a campaign to let
Mhm.
the developers build apps, publish
Mhm.
it, and then
Mhm.
reward them. So that
Oh.
point, I did launch an app that was called a drag drop attachments, but there was a bad story to it that there was some US company, a friend company. They literally, I got their tag to launch the app, but then later the moment it won it, that company said it's our app and they stole it. But some way,
Oh.
yeah, they never gave me the reward, never gave me the name. The app is still on the market, but it's okay. But that
Okay.
gave me a motivation some way to build my own app, and that's where Metadata Search started.
Mhm.
We built and published as a paid app, but then we found out that checkout, probably this might be a good point for many Indian partners, that if you're having an office only in India and not in US, your ISV is called as an Indian ISV, and that's where you can't use the checkout feature of AppExchange, which means that you have to take payments from your customers offline, and then the revenue share that you pay back to Salesforce, which for every paid AppExchange app you have to pay, that you have to pay them offline. So because this process was so cumbersome in 2013 when we launched this as a paid app, we
Mhm.
paid to Salesforce whatever fees, but then we felt that this might be very cumbersome and a tedious process, and to receive the foreign remittance for every small transaction. So what we did is in 2013, though it was a paid app on Salesforce Book, we launched it as a free app. So we
Oh.
had paid app till 2017 when we decided let's now see how the status is, but still the status was the same, that
Mhm.
Salesforce checkout wasn't supported in India. And that app actually, as the name says, helps you to find among like 30 to 40 metadata components, or you can say setup components. Let's say you're searching for a field that you want to deprecate, or you're doing cleaning of the org and you want to find out like certain things, where are they being used, so you can then take a call or decide whether you want to deprecate it, whether you can delete it, or whether you can remove it. And rest be assured that it wouldn't impact a business process or any of the functionality. Similarly, if you want to make a entire configuration dictionary of your org, you can use the metadata search app. So that's where the journey been, and it's been really great. And recently we enhanced that app so that
Mhm.
it works with OAuth. Of course, we have those technical discussions with Salesforce where they earlier we used to use session ID and stuff, and then we moved to OAuth.
Mhm.
Gave us a good kick again to move from VF architecture to an LWC architecture. So now the app can search. You can say 50,000 classes, 50,000 triggers, 50,000 workflows, 50,000 profiles. So that's that way that
And
app
it's
is.
all
It's all native.
okay.
No, no. So
But
what
how
we
did
did,
you get this idea? Sorry to cut you, but how did you get this idea that you have to build something to search metadata? Did you saw any
probably
customers pain point or something?
no, actually, that's probably we had always a data search, and we being a
Mhm.
company of an implementation and consulting, we always
Mhm.
had this constant requirement. Where earlier, I think probably if you have used, we were using Eclipse for your development,
Yeah.
okay, which was way heavier. You couldn't download
Post.com
all of the
ID.
force.com ID. You couldn't download all of the metadata and search something. So it was becoming, and it was very, very, you can say a developer tool. No
Mm.
way a business admin could look into the reports or into the workflows or into, you can say, roles profiles or do a cleanup. That's where I
Mhm.
got this idea that it's becoming challenging even for my own projects to find something. And
Mm.
that's where slowly we started building this. Actually, that was something I built myself. And
So you
that's where
started it for yourself and then gradually
in
promoted
a
it to
way,
sales.
yes. But then always
Mm.
had the vision that I have to go to AppExchange. Okay, because I did
Mm.
it in 2012, got that kick from that friend, or you can say enemy now. But then that helped me, like, okay, now I have a vision, I have an idea, and that's where I started and published that app. So that's the idea. Somewhere the use case was for our own implementation, and then of course building an app exchange was always a vision. Okay.
Right.
And that's where we built this app exchange app, and actually it's a great app nowadays. We have many big fortune companies using that app, and
Mhm.
along with that, there are few other apps like we have mass file download. That's actually even more hot cake than the metadata search.
Mhm.
Because this similarly here also, what was the reason? In
Mhm.
Salesforce, there's no way you can bulk download your files in a
Mhm.
zip folder, in a zip having subfolders, of, let's say, close opportunities or open cases. That's where we got this idea. We built this tool, and trust, it's being used by Volkswagen, Facebook, Google, and then name it. Like, and
Wow.
because everyone does have a requirement to export, our, you can say, major share of customers are those who are leaving Salesforce for mass file download. Suddenly they want to back up their files, so they come use this tool, and within hours they get their file export back. So they're
That's
way
not a good
happier.
thing to say, actually.
But,
That's my
but then Salesforce can use this tool in their kit actually to say that you can use this tool and be still part of Salesforce, because this tool does help them to export, delete them, and then still use Salesforce. Then we have a few other apps, like there's an Amazon S3 app, which is like Salesforce to S3 integration. Seamless. Right from Salesforce, you do everything: upload, download, delete. On the same lines, we have an Azure integration. You do upload, download, delete all from Salesforce. So the files in the backend go to Azure as storage, or they go to Amazon storage. Yeah, and quite few other apps are also there. We recently launched 3 LWC apps, and that's a good point to raise actually. Last year, when Salesforce changed the review process, many of us got like, why they are charging for every review a $999, right?
Yes, yes.
Somewhere from where, for us, that was a very good point actually. Because see, as a partner, if you're doing your homework correctly, doing a proper review of your work, proper security, and you're ensuring all your quality standards, this 99 is a plus for you, because we launched 3 apps and all 3 got security cleared in first and second attempt. So instead of paying 2,999, we paid only 999 only. So that way also we saved something. But then that's up to you as a partner. You have to learn this process of how you build your app, and be it a free app or a paid app, we build it the same way. Similarly, the support
Correct.
also, we give it the same way. The only difference in free and paid in our team is the stories or the scrum cycle gets prioritized differently for obvious reasons. One is giving you a monetary benefit, other isn't. But otherwise, to our team, we have strongly said, be it a support, be it a dev, you follow all the good practices. You be the support also needs to be the best. So these are the 2 things which can make your app the app on the AppExchange. You might have less customers, but make sure they are the happy customers. So that way you can always ensure. And of course, we being based out of India, there's a bit of a notion people might have, but that's what I wanted to break. And trust me, any person can go to any of our apps, read any of the reviews. You will find them glooming, starry reviews only. And that's what I would prefer any partner across the globe to ensure that that's the part. Be it a small app, you never know when you will get a tons of customers, but if your support is good, your product is good, you would be able to scale it. You won't have that fear that it would break down.
Correct. So one thing which many new ISV partners might like to know from you, you've listed many apps. So how big is the development cycle? Let's say you talk about metadata search, or let's say you launched an LWC component. So can you give a rough breakup of time, like in weeks, a month? How much time does it take?
See, so let's say even we do PDO also, right? So we build apps for partners, customers. So generally the cycle we try to close in 8 to 12 weeks, the entire cycle. First, you sit down and design. Of course, you sit with, whether it be it a customer, be it your own app idea, you have that good 1-2 weeks where you're thinking loudly what you want to build. You think all your aspects around it, that whether there's something already in the market. If there is, are you trying to do better? And those all stuff you do, like design part. Then you start having a parallel team like me or someone to start discussion with Salesforce in terms of getting that business plan approval and everything, where the dev team have already started their work. Okay.
Right.
Somewhere we always go with the confidence that we'll get it approved. We don't fear that the business plan won't be approved, because that's how strong idea we try to. Whenever whoever is building, be strong on your idea. Just don't pick any random idea from AI or just internet. Be sure what you're trying to build. And while it's being built, you will have a beta version ready, and then you submit to Salesforce for security review. That's the major part of an app, where you have to focus really hard in terms of all the scanning tools they have offered. Plus, you pre-prepare all your documentation that they may ask even. So when you go with that, your security review would be cleared in a matter of a week or 2. That would save your cycle from, I would say, 8 to 10 weeks is generally we cover. And then, of course, if security would take longer, this will keep increasing by multiple weeks. So I'd say if you're launching a LWC component, probably assuming it doesn't have an integration, even if it does have an integration, 10 weeks would be like a minimum cycle a minimum period that you can have your app launched, assuming you're following and learn the art. Of course, when you're starting with the app, your first app might be 12 weeks, 14 weeks, but slowly and gradually you'll reach to a point where it will be 10 weeks.
Okay. So I think I like the business plan part. And as a PDO, we also try to tell everyone, boss, first get the business plan approval done, because at times people are so sure. Like I think with you, the advantage is you are in the ecosystem for so long. So you understand what Salesforce is doing, what market
Yes.
wants. But at time new guys, they build so much and then they go for business plan approval. So you
No, but
said after 1 or 2 weeks you can do, or how quickly you suggest approaching business plan approval?
see, I would say the day you have made your design and the solution concrete in terms of your own execution, like be it your dev team, be it your own sales team who understand what product you're trying to build. Once you're sure about it and you are ready to put that effort of building it, at that same moment you can go to Salesforce also. It's about you convincing them and you being more convinced. See, to be very frank, Salesforce does allow every app unless
Right.
unless it's competing directly and there are 10 other apps in the market. So
Roadmap.
yeah, probably I would use this to say to every partner, don't try to copy any app. There's a tons and tons of idea that you can implement. Even if you want to build something on the same idea, at least try to build it in a different way. Don't copy paste. We had this experience with one of our app, and turned out we had reached out to them multiple times with no response, and they have their app exact copy of our app. So
Yeah, that's something I was about to come. It's happening on AppExchange, like Play Store and App Store. People are copying each other.
yeah,
And now
which
people are actually shying away from demos also. They're not putting clear videos.
this is more about you as a company and your moral values as a like person also. Whether you want to build something, if you are a product person, you love building products, like you have a vision, you enjoy it, don't see the monetary part of it, then you will actually try to come up with a new idea, or you will take an existing idea, it's okay, but then you will build a tool which is different. Okay, don't do an exact copy, but then that only will earn you something, right, on a longer run. For of course there will be competitors to you, that's good, actually healthy competition always helps for every one of us, but then you don't copy it for the sake of just building an app and publishing. Going back to your earlier question of business plan, first you and your team be sure about what you're building, then you go to Salesforce actually with that plan and idea, and trust me, they will approve it. It's about you being the confident part here because you are putting so much effort here. So if you're true about, let's say, at least 1 or 2 weeks, I would say, just blindly don't go for a business plan. Never. Because then you yourself won't be confident and then midway you'll leave it. So that shouldn't happen.
Right. And that's what I suggest my customers also as a PDO. Let's do some rough blueprint and then go for business plan approval. So if I again reiterate for my all ISV audience here who are trying to build app or who are in process. So first get a basic functional design ready. Understand that there is a market feasibility, right? You want to check the but how do you do that market feasibility? That's another interesting question.
Actually, yes, that's a good point. But if you see more of our apps, like the metadata search or the mass file download, those are more like an admin or document management apps. You can say it's not specific to any industry, right? So somewhere we, while building these apps or the other apps we have is like a quick update translation. So these apps are like, they're not industry specific. So when we build it, we know there's a market for it. There's a tons of Salesforce customers. There are tons of Salesforce users who are using it, and they have these challenges, which you figure it out over the period. Or if you're following the Salesforce ideas also, or if you're seeing what customer pain points are while doing the implementation, you figure out. Now coming to ideas around or apps around which are industry specific, or you can say enterprise app, like the Amazon S3 app or the Azure app. That's where also they are in a way not industry specific, right? But then we heard from customers there's a file pain point, like file storage is an issue. We have way bigger file size which Salesforce doesn't support. So more or less, I would say from our side, we keep it very simple. We hear from our own customers. We hear from the ideas we have. And then we realize over the period that let's build a good product and then try to sell it. Okay. That's probably not a proactive way of getting the market, you can say. It's like building a great product, putting to the market, and then a reactive way of getting the customers to use the product. Maybe had it been an OEM app, let's say loyalty management or some real estate, then of course you need to have your proper market analysis before you actually think of building an app.
Right. And even can we suggest people like rather they build everything like too huge, they can actually do a small MVP and actually take it to few
Perfect.
customers. Like again, it's if it is not like a utility app or an admin focus app, it's an industry app or OEM app, rather like building something too huge for months. Like as you said, I think 10 weeks is a sweet time. Just wind up something in
Actually,
10 weeks and go.
that's a very valid point that we mentioned during our every conversation we have with every PDO. And of course, we internally
Mhm.
also follow that. There's no point of building a mountain.
Hmm.
You keep on piling and build a mountain, and then later realize that you're not getting customers, or it's not even feasible for you to explain to customer how big of an app it is. So always start
Right.
with an MVP, and the moment you have your MVP ready, the beauty is you can start going to customers and you can start going to security review also. Parallelly, let your
Right.
dev team keep executing on more stories, more scrum, but then at least by that time you have a basic product that is showing a proof of concept to your customers or to your early prospects. So that's a very beauty thing, and that's why it's 10 weeks. Otherwise, you know
Hmm.
that cycle can be way bigger, like 12
Yeah,
weeks or
you can
16
do
weeks.
anything.
So always,
Correct.
for as you very rightly said, have a smaller MVP come up first instead of directly trying to build a mountain. And the same can be submitted to security review also. That would save your time. And second, the same you can start showing to your prospects over the period. So yes,
Correct. Correct.
so that's probably for building app that's very necessary. And maybe for whatever reasons, let's say you built an MVP and you realize that, oh, it's not working, then at least you would have saved certain time or certain money of having resources not work on that entire version of the app, and then
Right.
put a threshold for that moment, and later when you have more budget or more resource availability, you can resume that app building.
Correct, correct. And I think you get a lot of confidence also once your prospects, let's say even three guys, they said, yes, yes, I love this idea. Why don't you give us XYZ features also? Then you
Perfect.
will go with like more zeal. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
let's do it.
Here one point that I did hear from one person when I met in Dreamforce from Brazil actually said a very good point. Yes, you should go to your prospects with the idea, show them the app, but let them not drive your product vision ever.
Right.
It's
One,
enterprise
yeah,
clients. So every time you're building an app, always take those generic things that the customer is saying, because you're not building this app for one customer, you're building it for multiple customers. They can be of any industry. So let not one customer drive or dictate your product. Then you're not building a product. You would be building something for him, but showing as a
yeah,
product. So that's a
correct.
good point, actually. Yes, it does give you a zeal, motivation to further enhance, further build it so that you can get them as customers. But while reading them or while listening to them, ensure you're not blindly listening to them.
It's an interesting point. Let's deep dive into it. So let's say you are a popular guy now, your app is popular. Now customers will come, like Google will come, as you said, like your app is used by Google. Or let's say Toyota will come, they will say, no, we need this feature, we need this feature in the app. And then there might be a conflict that Google wants something which will architecturally change your app in a different way, and Toyota will change in a different way. Like it's a 180-degree change.
180-degree, yes.
So then there is a core product. What
See,
are the options here, like extensions? So how do you approach this?
yes. So probably for such reasons, what we do is initially we very strongly try to only add those things to our product which are generic. Like in a way, whatever they have asked for, we'll try to make it as an additional feature.
Mhm.
Till now, we haven't went with extensions. We use something called as a feature management of Salesforce to manage those features, where still the
Mhm.
managed package is just one for now. We work for few customer projects where we had extension packages, but not in our apps. So what we
Mhm.
use feature management to add additional features and control those features based on what a customer needs. Like we would have multiple plans, and based on that. Now coming, let's say they ask something which you can't implement. In
Mhm.
that case, then the solution remains, of course, this is a core product and multiple options. You probably can try to make few things global or part of still your app, like an API layer, and then
Mhm.
agree with them building something on top of that, like an unmanaged thing, working with their
Local
team or something.
implementation.
Yes, local implementation, but ensuring the crux or the logic or the engineering part is still part of your app,
Mhm.
using those global or whatever, and make an API layer. So still you are not giving your product away to the customer. Okay. And
Correct.
still you're ensuring that you're not doing something specific for Toyota or for Google, and which is part of your app and being installed by every customer. So there's no way
Mm.
we ever agree to it, to do something which is specific for a customer. Of course, we envision it, and everyone should do that only because at the end it's a product, right? and we never want multiple copies of the product also. So we
Too
don't
tough to
have,
maintain.
yeah. So it's just too hard to maintain. I don't want another copy of Google being maintained by me. One for Toyota. We always, till now, we had almost like 13 or 15 apps, 8 are paid apps, all of them having just one package and all of them having just one copy. Now that there's the one more option that certain customers do come to you, give me and complete unmanaged. What do you do with that?
Yeah, interesting point. Yeah.
What
What
do
do
you
you
do?
do?
And in some way you have built it very hard, right? Let's say if a company like Volkswagen is coming to you to ask this, you can still think, okay, at least from an NDA point or from a proprietary rights, I won't have that challenge because that company won't go into selling again.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a list of their priority.
Yeah, list of their priorities. And of course, it's not their space. So that way you'll be
Right.
assured. But you should be assured on this point when you're selling someone, tomorrow they shouldn't be coming with a similar app on the market. So we have said complete no to anyone who came with this thing because
Give
somewhere
us
we wanted our product to be our product. And trust me, the Volkswagen and we've been in talks. They want to build, but we always said we will build whatever you want. That would be part of our product, and otherwise the custom thing that we proposed is what we propose to them.
I think the other problem is that you will again have a two code base, one Volkswagen unmanaged code base and your own app code base, and then you have to take care of Volkswagen customizations and then your own app.
Yes, it becomes an implementation. It's no longer a product then. And again, you would have that constant when you go ask the customer a heavy price for royalty, right? What you have built. And that price, it's very hard to gauge because you have built it over 10 years or 7 years or 6 years. Now you're selling to every customer at a low ticket price. But once you're selling to them one time, you'd ask for a very big royalty. So even that picture will come in. But then we always said no, probably. But as a small partner, if you're building and someone is coming to you and he's agreeing, make sure get a good royalty for it. Make sure you have proper NDAs and documents signed with them so that tomorrow they don't launch your app and you feel like cheated. Okay. But if you are feared of these things, stick to what you have as a product, as an AppExchange app.
Right. And I think Volkswagen or somebody at Volkswagen might not ever do, even if you decide to give source code, but it might happen if there is a smaller customer, you give them your source code, the architect or admin there might take that source code into different companies they are going into as an admin or architect.
It happens like, yes. And probably that's true actually. In Volkswagen, no one of course would do that also, right? Because their org itself would be so huge. They would actually add more and more customization. But as you rightly said, a person working as a consultant in Volkswagen might leave somewhere and he might carry, like, as we all know, in a way in Salesforce, it's not that secure what you have built, right? You can easily take them and move it or do it in your next company. So somewhere you need to feel secure your way. Then only you can start giving unmanaged or code to whoever customer is asking. And of course, the big call is which company you are dealing with. If it's a small company, I would always say a no. It might give you a good revenue the moment you sell them, but then long term you always would have that fear of someone coming or someone misusing it or the customer not coming back to you for more licenses that way.
Right. And again, it goes, I think, at a speed of light test times. Like people say, okay, you sold your source code to this company, why not us? Because community is also working out. People meet each other. They say, yeah, this app from Chirag, why don't you get the source code? Then it is a problem for you.
Actually, if you don't sell, then as we talk in partner group, right, there might be certain Telegram links moving. I have that source code, whether you need it for so and so dollar. Things can fast flow, right? Then all of a sudden your product, which was an AppExchange app, has become like a college project. It's been circulating like copy paste across machines. So probably we strongly say no, not even to a single customer we have done till now. Okay. And happily the customers over the period do agree to it. Okay. It's about, we had, for example, Volkswagen was not ready here. They wanted unmanaged. We had Salesforce team part of it. They had a security questionnaire with us for 9 months just to buy one app. And our team followed it sincerely, diligently. The effort that we put was way, you can take 10 times than what we got from customer. But the point is, somewhere we didn't want to give them unmanaged, right? And somewhere that also help us to prepare that a big questionnaire document for our app, and that we now use to give to every customer. So that way, few things make you learn also, not just about giving you money, but then you stick to your product. Now Volkswagen is using it, and we are also happy because it's only one app, and no fear of stealing or no fear of someone else taking it forward anywhere. Or even if they need enhancement, they come to us. Then we actually ask them to buy more licenses for every enhancement. That's also a good point. Let's say a customer asks you for an enhancement. What do? Do you charge them extra or not? The way we do is we ask them extra amount. In a way, what we're building for you new is not part of the cost that you've already paid. What you're building new, we would ask them a one-time cost, or we would ask them that whether it's possible for another 20 set of users. Okay, then we put a case like, okay, 20 set of users, it's giving you more revenue, so we'll build it. But then it will be launched for everyone.
Right.
That's all.
So I think let's recap this thing. This is because a very interesting point. So again, a Toyota Google case. What are the options an ISV have? One is like we talked about unmanaged package. That's a big no. If somebody asks for unmanaged package, you should stay away from it. Another option you said you can use feature management. Can you give a short summary of how feature management works for ISVs? How they can use in these kind of scenarios?
Yes. Let's say now, as you rightly said, Toyota asked you to build one feature. Google asked you to build one feature. As I said, our point is we always keep it part of package. Now you keep it part of a package, but you build something robust or big item. Your base price, let's say, is $120. Now somewhere you built an effort around it. You want to sell it, of course, because you put an effort, and even to the Volkswagen Toyota, you would have charged less because it's part of your package. So what we do is we use feature management to control all additional features. Okay. So if I take an example, let's say the mass file download. Okay. The mass file download comes with a tab for bulk processing, but it comes with the Lightning LWC components also that you can embed on your detail page. So we sell the base license at 120, which gives them bulk download. But then we ask them, if you need Lightning components, you pay additional $10 per license. Or let's say if there's a feature which is org-wide, like a migrate utility, we give them, let's say you will be paying $1,000 per year. And then these parameters are part of app, but then you have feature parameters. Let's say you have Boolean feature parameters. You would define them false for the customers who are not paying and using the base plan. So for them, it would work the way they want. They won't see those additional things. And the customer who's paying additional, you will enable those checkboxes in your ISV org, like the feature parameter, and the same app will start working, giving more functionality to the Toyota customer because they've paid more and they've asked us to enable more. So the feature parameter is like are like additional attributes that you define in your package, and you get them in your ISV org, the org which is used to maintain your licenses. From there, you regulate, okay, he has paid us more, he enabled those features, and the same app will start working differently for two customers. And that gives you very good granular control.
So if you talk about feature management, so it is put into the code. There is, I think, Apex APIs. And then eventually it goes into your business edition org and LMA. The LMA means license management for ISVs who are new to the ecosystem. So you manage it via the point and click, right? Like which features to be enabled on a given license.
Yes. So as you rightly said, like in package, you write pure Apex code. It's a very straightforward few lines of code that you write in your package. So in your package, first you define your feature parameters. Let's say there are three types: Boolean, integer, and date. So mostly we use Booleans. Of course, we do have integers where we use limits. And you define them, you put in your package that if so-and-so feature parameter, let's say we take a Boolean example. If so-and-so feature parameter is enabled, certain piece of code should run. Okay. Otherwise, it should throw an error that please subscribe to this feature. Okay. On the same lines, once they're defining the package, now let's say probably you're installing the package, right? So once you've installed the package, we all ISV partners get a org. People call it PB org, ISV org. That's the org that we all partners receive, where we have the LMA installed, which is like the license management app, which is like a license is a custom object where you get expiration date, number of licenses, those all you update, and automatically the customer org would behave that way. If you expire that app in the LMA, then automatically the app will be expired in the customer org. So below the license, there are child entities called as feature parameters. So in the feature parameter, using the point and click, because I've created, let's say 10 Boolean parameters, that license will show me 10 parameters. And on that parameters, I can right inside sitting in my own ISV org as a partner publisher, I will actually enable whatever I have discussed with customers or payment I have received. and automatically the same moment, the same app right in the customer org will start behaving accordingly. So the package does read the feature parameters from your ISV org on the fly from the backend. So if you enable, let's say something, let's say they paid something extra, you enable the moment that parameter will start showing as a true, and the feature will start working in the customer org. So the same package can have different values for different customers and behave what we have enabled for them. And of course, we enable based on what they have paid to us or what they have agreed to, what features they want.
Correct. So talking about the same options, Toyota, Google example, both asking for different features. So feature management sits where your core package is not disturbed a lot because of these changes. You can manage it via features, right? And let's say there is a huge destructive change. By destructive, I mean it's a huge change. It will disrupt the architecture. So what do you do? Extension packages, or is there any other approach you can address this kind of?
Probably never had this, but I would always recommend extension is always a good. Never try to be part of the main package because it can take your main app in a different direction altogether, and it might hurt some of your existing customers or other customers who don't need it. So always an extension is a good choice because still that keeps a managed entity, still keeps the code royalty with you. Okay. Probably the last option would be the unmanaged. We never, because if you're a product company, you don't want to again go into the route of giving unmanaged things to a customer because that becomes a very dirty solution for you because tomorrow they may have their own IT team work on it and you lose your product slowly, right? Because they would start building something on top of it. So obviously, probably the first discussion always should be with the customer on the product lines so that you ensure you're still a product company, you're still building whatever can be part of product. If not, extension option 2. The first option is unmanaged. There's no harm. It's just that you would be then dealing with unmanaged, more like an implementation with that customer. Whether you want to do it as a company person, it's your call totally as a person who's driving it.
Right. But I think you have two other options which we discussed. Like the point you said, you can expose APIs. You can tell Mr. Customer you implement it yourself for you. I think in future also this will be benefit for many customers. I'm exposing few objects and APIs. Why don't you build what you want on top of it, or we can help you as well to build something on top.
That's a good actually option. We have done it like for Amazon. Some way like we have the Amazon app, right, where people actually still use standard files and attachment upload, but they wanted those to be migrated to S3. So in our app, we do have certain things which are like exposed as an API, and of course they are also controlled by feature parameter. So only the customers who are asking for this feature, we of course go with an extra price. We enable that feature. Now they have an access to API, so their in-house Salesforce team, or even we can help them build something which would then let their users still use standard file attachment, but in the backend call the APIs and upload the file to S3. Okay. So that's a very good option to still keep your product intact and not giving anything major to customer. So that can be always be your option 1B. 1A is part of product. 1B is have an API layer because many customers would argue API layer or things that they can do it. That would make your product also scale better. And otherwise the option 2 is like extension, and option 3 unmanaged.
Correct. So I think this particular part of conversation should now help ISVs because this is a typical thing you will run into. You have feature management, you can expose APIs and flow process builder kind of options also for customers to integrate their flows with your like apps logic. Otherwise, you can build extension packages. Yeah, I think that should go on. Now, actually, I think let's move to the.
I'm so sorry. Like, just to add to that point, the flow thing that you rightly said, these days it's very good that in your app you add things like API layer or things that your flow can call, right? The flow is the new thing, right? So always when you're building things, you can always control them using feature parameter, but then still keep providing those additional things to customers. So the more the app penetrates in a customer org, there are more chances of less attrition in the app. The customer will keep using your app for a longer period.
Right. It will actually be easier for them to or get more value out of the investment by integrating them in the flows. So I think, Chirag, let's now change gear. I'm very excited to talk about the next section because everywhere is confused there. They build the app. How do you decide the price? And there are many options per user per month. per company, per month, or per year? So what are the options quickly, and how do you decide on that?
Depends upon the app also. So right now in Salesforce, we have actually two pricing, and there's a custom pricing also. Now there's something called as a per user, and there's something as a per org. And now using feature management, we have done something of hybrid a bit also. So based on your app use case, like for example, let me take a use case like a mass file download, right? So that app, obviously, every user of your Salesforce won't be using that app. Only there will be a certain set of people. Like for example, we have a company who have service users. Only the service user using mass file download, because day to day they work on cases. They want to download the files and send those files or archive those files. So in that such app, if you want to monetize better also, and even for a customer, you would sell such apps as per user app. Okay. And you will keep it a very low price. Per user apps needs to be at a very low price. Okay. Let's say $10. So that customers, in a way, of course, you're trying to influence their decision in terms of purchasing, right? So the app use case will determine whether it's a per user or per org app. Okay. So that can be a good factor. Second, if you're keeping a per user, keep the price low comparatively. But yes, do have a base price, because sometimes if you keep a low price, customer will ask you like, give me only one license. Okay. And then you will end up giving them for only $100, which won't be worth the support you will provide over the period and the effort you have spent. Now coming to per org, what apps makes per org? Like for example, if I take an app called as an metadata search, which was actually per org app earlier, because we find that only the admins are going to use this app. Okay, but later we kept enhancing for the business analyst or the administrators or the ones who are building reports analytics. Even they started using our app. Okay, that's when and we had a talk with a good customer. That person said me, like during a discussion, he mentioned me that it's high time that you move your app from per org to per user. So actually a customer suggested us, and he mentioned that let's say my app was $600. He said for a Fortune 500 company, $600 is peanut. He literally said that's my salary per day. If your app is helping me do my work in 5 minutes, I'm more than happy to pay from my pocket. Why are you selling it at 500? Sell it per user. And even we had this vision. We were working with Salesforce parallelly, and that's when we moved the metadata search app from a per org to a per user app. Now we have few customers. Majority of customers buy one license, but then we have few customers who bought 5 licenses, 10 licenses. So that's where you multiplied your number. Of course, in such apps, you can provide higher discounts. In per user apps, you can always provide more discount the day they start buying more licenses. We have a tiered pricing. So in per user, have a lower price, but always have a tiered pricing. Let's say if you're taking 20 license, flat rate. If they're taking 30 license, give a 10% discount and so on. Okay. So the use case defines whether it's a per user or per org app. Okay. That you can totally say. If you ask me, now I have a strong notion, always go with per user. Okay. It always helps. The day you will find a big company taking your app, taking more licenses, you'll earn more. The company who's taking less, they will only use one license, you'll still get the same number.
Okay.
And then you have custom option, like for example, now with feature parameter, you still made it as a per user app, right? Move things to feature management. Okay. Let's say customer says, I need 4 more features. Then you can add more value to your per user app. Okay, that you'd add 10 is the base price. Now $2 I'm giving 4 features, so it's like $18 per user, and let's say 20 licenses that they're taking, you can do that way. So probably I would say, in short, the answer is use case defines whether you want to keep it per user, per org app.
Okay, so you mentioned Salesforce here. Do you get any assistance in pricing from Salesforce team when you're doing business plan approval or further pricing approval?
Not really, I would say assistance, but yes, they do ask us, and even we do evaluate any competitors if you have in market. Salesforce does strongly advise you that go and see the competitors' price and accordingly come with a similar price or lower price. They are always with that notion. You can't have a way higher price than what are existing. But then it's up to you. You can have a strong command saying that, okay, we have our own features, we have our own vision, which is very different than existing. So you can have your own price set. But then, yes, do evaluate competitor price just to get you an idea what's the market price. Sometimes you might think too low, or sometimes you might think too high also of a price. So it's better to see their prices and then take a wise call that, okay, what would be the better rate actually. to go with.
I was saying, like you also mentioned an interesting point, which many ISVs don't know, that they can do a tiered pricing. So how does tiered pricing works? Does it integrates well with checkout, or as you mentioned, you have to do something beyond checkout?
Yeah, somewhere we don't use checkout because Salesforce AppExchange doesn't support yet India as a destination. So what we have done is we have built an entire complete custom order taking process. That too we have built on top. That is all in Salesforce. We have built on top of the PBO org. Okay. So during that order taking process, what is the app you're buying? How many licenses do you need? How many years do you need? And based on that, we have defined all the logic, or you can say the matrix of what discount to give. So tier pricing is a good way. Like for example, you can price your app, let's say 120, right? But if a customer comes and say, I need 100 license, he won't be paying you 12,000. Okay. So what we do is you define a tier saying 1 to 25 would be the same rate. 25 to 50 would offer you 20% discount. 50 to 100 would offer you another 20% discount, and so on. So in the order taking process, while they're putting the numbers, it's more like a calculator. It would calculate, okay, he say 100. Automatically, it won't be 12,000. It might be around 8,000 or 6,000 based on what tier discount you've defined. And that's what you bill to your customer. And of course, what you're billing to your customer is what you declare to Salesforce also in terms of revenue sharing. I think probably we'll touch that later.
Right.
And along with tiered pricing, you can also define number of years you can give more discount. That's something we've started lately, last 2-3 years. The reason is somewhere you can say customer buy for 3 years instead of 1 year. I'll give you additional 20% discount. What's benefit for you as a partner? For the next 3 years, that customer is out of your sales cycle. You don't need to worry about that customer any longer.
Every year renewal, you don't have to pitch them up.
And one always having the fear of losing the customer, right? Something might pop up, the customer, some competitor might come up. So it's always better you as a company decide what discount additional you want to give for multi-year renewal. And we always give that. So we have a very good structure, like 2 years we give additional 10, 3 years we give additional 20, and 4 years we give additional 30, which brings down number a lot. So the companies, the enterprise companies, we have seen enterprise companies, what they do is they actually go for bigger renewal. They have the set budget also with them. Somewhere they see a flat 50% discount, they go for 3-4 years. So that can be also a selling point for you. So we give a tiered pricing based on years. Also we give discount, and then we have something from the day one is a flat 20% discount to non-profits. So that we have ensured from the day one. So just to help in a very small way to the non-profit customers, and we don't verify anything. We just ask them a consent. If you're a non-profit, flat 20% is applied to their invoice in terms of discount.
Okay. Chirag, one question here. You mentioned that in India, checkout is a problem, and loved your tiered pricing idea. So for ISVs, before I go into the checkout thing, so what Chirag said is interesting. You have to plan your tiered pricing based on the number of users. And again, I think renewal, I have seen it's a big pain. Every year you have to sign contracts and do things. So if you get a 2 years or 3 years lock-in or the agreement with the customer, that's a good discount or good tiered pricing option to have in your pricing model. Now coming to checkout, let's say you want to do tiered pricing and you're not in India, let's say US. Does checkout supports or assists US customers?
See, to be very frank, I haven't seen more of a checkout how it is. But what I've heard, actually, it does support probably even auto renewals also, because that does support storing of the cards and everything. Okay.
Right.
For me, right now, it's an offline process. So we never had storing of the cards or subscription type of invoicing. We always, once a year is about when we re-go to them to ask for another payment. We don't auto charge the cards or we don't store the card. So if you're non-US, you have to use checkout or tools like that, because that would avoid you from the process of renewals, right? Because in US, any tool that you use, SaaS tool, everyone keeps card on file, and then you agree to their terms that they would auto deduct unless you cancel. So in checkout,
Correct.
I'm damn sure there should be an option where when you're buying, it's more like you're bought forever and you put a card on file. So it will keep deducting it. And in checkout, I think there's a monthly option also. Because we're doing offline invoicing and processing, we keep all of our contracts annual. Because assume how cumbersome it would be for me every month going with a small bill to all of our 500 plus customers. But in checkout, that option is there. You as a publishing console or checkout admin would define how you want your plans to be. But I think checkout is way configurable and a great tool. and the good part of checkout is, I think now here in my case, as you hear, I take the 100% from the customer in an offline basis, and then I pay my revenue share to Salesforce after I've received the 100%. So it's a big challenge for me because there's a lot of incoming fees. Then again, I pay back. There's a more fees. Somewhere, though I say 15%, I end up paying around 20% or 22% out of the 100% we received. So
Right.
if you have offices outside India and it supports checkout, go for checkout.
Okay, because checkout I think works with channel order app, and for ISV,
Yes.
channel order is the app given to all ISV partners by Salesforce, and it manages your order. And I think all paid ISVs must be aware of that. You have to pay a commission to Salesforce for all the sales. So what Chirag was mentioning is the commission part, which is what, 15%, right, for paid apps?
Yes. So actually, there's a 15% for ISV Force app. I think that's a flat these days. If there's an OEM app, I don't have that idea, but I think it's 25% for OEM apps. Maybe
OEM,
probably
right.
someone and partner doing an OEM would answer that better. And earlier there used to be concept called a floor price also, but now I think they have removed it, and mostly it's a 15% flat. So whatever you're selling it at, you use the channel order app to declare to Salesforce in a way that, okay, I've sold so and so licenses at so and so amount, that is the total. To Salesforce, you declare it using the channel order app. You raise a service order, something called as, and then Salesforce would invoice you the 15% of whatever you have built. Salesforce does invoice you every month.
How do you manage that?
It's a very cumbersome process because with our apps being more like, we have 500 to 1,000 customers we have. So every month we receive 1,000 invoices of peanut amounts. So somewhere, this is all we are discussing only for the ones who are not using checkout. And I'm assuming for checkout, because it's the deduction is happening before you're receiving the money, you're not even using checkout, the service order thing. Okay. Only the ones, the partners who are not using checkout would be having the service order tool. They would be using that tool or creation of service order or the channel order app, as you said, to raise to Salesforce, get an invoice from Salesforce. And what we do is, like, once we get all the invoices, we have our account team accumulate them. And also Salesforce team also, every start of month, they reach out to you. Okay, these are the invoices of the last month. This is the entire total. Of course, now we have Salesforce India. So it's a good thing actually, which happened a couple of years ago. Now the invoices in INR, and then they brought GST into picture. So there's an 18% GST added, which is 15%, 18%. So somewhere that brings higher share. And then the invoice is a total amount at the start of every month for the last month invoices. Our team tallies to what invoices we have received, and then we make the payment to Salesforce India.
Yeah, one question. I think you mentioned that you do annual invoicing, and that's what I know from many customers. Even if they do per user per month, they do an annual invoicing instead of this monthly one. So even for annual invoices, does Salesforce charges you on a monthly basis, or do you do one annual invoice and 115% cut invoice from Salesforce?
So what happens is, like, we do annual invoicing with all our customers for a very strong reason that we don't want to keep invoicing our customer every month. And somewhere, had we been storing the card also on file, we could have used any SaaS platform to do a monthly invoicing. Currently, we don't do that. Maybe we have that vision somewhere. So our is annual invoice. We customer invoice annually. Let's say bill was $1,200. I'll take an example. Now we declare to Salesforce we have sold $1,200 to the customer. So what Salesforce does is it breaks it into 12 months, which would be $100. And for $100, it would ask me $15. So every month, Salesforce will keep sending me $15 bill. For them, it's never ending. Okay. So the day, let's say you have reached the 11th month of your customer, generally by 10th month end, or by mid of 11th month, we reach out to customer. Are you looking for a renewal? Of course, many customers, the customers who opt out, the very same moment you have to go to channel order app, raise a cancellation service order to declare to Salesforce that customer is said a no. At that moment, they will stop invoicing you. But somewhere they say you need to declare 35 days before. We many a times tried before 35 days, but sometimes we never understood the mechanism. They do charge us the 13 installment also. So sometimes you end up paying more percentage there also.
But is there no way to tell Salesforce that I'm not getting this business?
No, but somewhere, like, it rarely happens. We have made a very strong, like, before 45 days, we try to get an answer from customer. and then we raise a cancel order. But many times customers are like, okay, we're thinking, the PO is undergoing, and those things make the expiry reach near 30 days. And now you get an answer somewhere after 30 days. If customer is not positive, we raise a cancel order now. So that way we save it to 12 installments only. Otherwise, there's a 13 installment also go, but that's okay. Then somewhere we don't focus that much on that 13 installment. It's okay. Still, we have taken like 75% is what we earn. 15% already as a fees, 5% already because of inward coming in USD, paying in INR, you lose. GST, you lose certain, and certain times you lose those 13th installment, that also. So yes, if you're not using checkout, you raise a service order the day you take a payment from customer. On that also, we have raised a very strong note. We as a company, till the point payment is not credited in our account, we don't raise service order and we don't issue licenses. A very, very strong, because we've seen companies doing or asking that this is the PO, give us licenses, and maybe the payment is never done. So it's a strong note, only the day it's credited. They ask us, what are your payment terms? I say, the day you credit, the day we issue license. You can keep net 60, you can keep net 30. Totally your call. But I won't issue licenses because there's a revenue share I need to pay to Salesforce. So there's no way I'm paying out of my pocket. Okay. So very strong rules. You receive your credit for every partner who's not using checkout. Then you raise the service order, declare to Salesforce. Salesforce will charge you. You have already got your entire annual amount. So that way you are good actually.
Okay, perfect. So I think this is very helpful, and I'm sure many ISVs will learn many tricks, especially those who are in India. Now, I think there are last two interesting bits left. One is trials. What do you suggest about trial force? Should one configure trials, or what is the tip around that or tricks around that?
So somewhere there's two things, like one is a test drive and there's one other is a trial force, as you rightly said. So what we've been offering till to date is a test drive to our customers and trial also. Now, three different things. What is a test drive? Test drive is like a org that you would spun as a partner. You will install your app. You would pre-configure that app, and you will provide that app, that orgs login in your publishing console. So your customers, without need to install your app, they can just hit a test drive button. They will go into a org which is pre-configured, and they can try the app and leave without worrying on installation configuration. So that's a test drive. Always provide a test drive option to all your apps. Okay. The ISV Force app works great when it's a test drive. Okay. Now comes OEM apps. For OEM apps, there's something called as a trial force. Or now trial force is literally like you build an org, you put your license, you configure your app, and then you provide that in your publishing console. So when a customer is trying for that, literally it would create a replica of that org for himself, for that client, and then they will start playing in it. Now, this trial force works great for those companies. For example, you have a loyalty management, you have an applicant tracking system, right? So you as a customer right now don't have any Salesforce license. Okay. So what you'll do to their listing, you'll do a trial. We have never tried, so I might be not 100% sure of the process. It would spun a new org for you. You will start playing in that org. I, as a publisher or a partner, would help you further enhance it. The day you're convinced, you'll work with Salesforce and convert the same org into an active org. Of course, after receiving the payment. Now, the third option is trial, which is actually test drive and trial are together. Now, what we do, we strongly recommend, of course, you take test drive, but still it won't show you your data, right? Because test drive is my org, a pre-configured org with a dummy data. So we recommend all our customers go ahead, hit the Get It Now button on AppExchange, install the app in your org, be it Sandbox, be it production. Of course, we recommend Sandbox for obvious reasons. And then by default, for every app, we give like 3 or 5 days trial with limited features. And now here also the feature management strongly helps. By default, we disable all the features. We give very limited features. Like for example, for a mass file download, if I give all the features even for 3 days, it can serve their purpose.
People might do the reporting and things.
Yes, so it can do that. Even the metadata search app can work in a sandbox, right? So that's where the feature management strongly helps. We have feature management defaulted to all being like a restricted app. Now, but restricted app, we give them the app, they install, they can play with their app. Few customers do come back. Please enable the sockle feature. Please enhance the limits. And based on the customer profile, we check and we slowly or sometimes do it. Or we strongly have demo calls with them. Over the call, we enable all the feature, let them review it over the call, and then we disable it. The day they purchase, we enable all the features. So the trial is very good option, because then customer is testing the app right inside his org with his objects, with his data. So probably if it's an ISV Force app, always have a trial option, which can be your default model that you define in the publishing console, that what will be your default, whether it be active or trial. And of course, it's a paid app, you make it as a trial. And how would be the default number of seats, you can define those all in the publishing console.
Right. And this is a lovely answer, by the way. So ISVs, you get three options. Test drive. Test drive means you have your own mock org, which will be shared with everyone. It will have your data, your objects, and your configuration. People will take a feel. It is like that. Then trial force, you clone a template org, and then people will play around with that org. They can convert it later on. But I think it's mainly for ISVs. And as Chirag said, trials are good. You will get your app in your own org with your own data and metadata. You can play around with it. And feature management is a very good tip from Chirag, that you can disable certain premium features. But I think, Chirag, one question here is, how do you let people know that this feature exists? You have to give a UI hint that you are on trials. So how do you do that?
So what we've done is, like, let's say metadata search, we're taking an example, right? As I said earlier also, it gives you searching in 50,000 components for every entity, like 50,000 classes, 50,000 triggers. Now that thing is controlled by a feature parameter, actually, the 50,000. Right now we've set 50,000. It's a feature parameter integer, which is defaulted to 5. The moment you install the app, every feature parameter has a default value. So the day, let's say you as a customer are installing in your sandbox, it would default to 5 value. Now when you're searching, it is only searching in 5 classes. It is only searching in 5 triggers. And at the top, there would be a strong red message line saying, right now the search is limited to 5 results. Please subscribe to enhance the limits, something like that. And that's where that would like literally push them, okay, why my results are not showing up? Then we request for a call, we enable or we enhance the feature parameter to 50,000 for a moment. Now they find the results and then we turn it off. Then they purchase and then we set 50,000 for whatever duration they have purchased. And or even in the UI features, you can disable certain features. But when you disable also, don't do it only on the UI level, do it on the controller level also, because there are many people who figure it out, hack around and play it around. So we have multi levels of feature management check then, not just at the UI, but at the code level also, whether that actually is turned on and whether he's actually playing with it or not. So that's how you control. You show all the features, but in a very disabled, restricted manner. Because if you hide them, they would never come to know that such a feature exists. So always when you
put a bad impression of your app.
So always when you're building something, try to keep this in a strong mind. Very good point that you raised. Try to show all the things in a restricted manner, because then they can see the gut feel, okay, this supports everything. And whenever you have the demo calls with your customers, explain everything, like what a full app would look like. And then you have a nice documentation for every app that, okay, these are the restriction of your trial. The day you purchase, these will be removed. So you can always provide that FAQ to them, so that they can understand, okay, what are the limits right now and what would be limits removed once I purchase.
Right. And all ISVs here, plethora of tips from Chirag here. Trial is interesting. Use feature management. Tell on UI clearly that this feature, let's say, as Chirag mentioned, it supports 50,000 metadata items, but we are limiting it to 5 because it's a trial. Document it that this is limit in a trial, and full version will give you this thing. And also, as he said, and demo calls also, nobody reads documents at time. So make it clear in demos also that, boss, you are getting this in trial versus that in full version. Moving ahead, we got trials covered, test drive covered, trial force covered. Last part, which we would like to cover in this podcast, is support. You mentioned support is really important, and that I think makes or breaks the success of the app. How do you suggest handling support across global time zone? Or what's the right strategy for ISVs?
Yes, you need to have a global support, but then as a company, we are not giving 24/7 support. We are only giving around 14-hour support is what we are providing. But then you can be very clear about it as a company. Of course, our products are all across. We have as good as Japan. We could have all the Arab countries. We have Australia. You can say any country across the globe. But then you as a company need to set your team, how big team you're setting. You can have a 24/7. And if your app is globally selling, it's a big app and you need a strong support all the time, you need to have 24/7. That's true. Somewhere we don't have it because the way our products are or the way we have built it, generally the support comes way less. That's something about how you built it. Okay. Now, support we consider a very, very strong part of it. Okay. We have our support portal where we ask our customers to raise the tickets or something. And in terms of SLA, we try to address in the same day at least, or at 2 days or 3 days, whatever it might take. Of course, if it's a feature request, we talk to the product team, understand how long, what scrum we can put in, and provide a tentative ETA to customer. Support, keep it as a strong pillar. Okay. Always be prompt to your answers, whatever you are. Have the team backed by strong FAQs. You can have a strong knowledge base, keep preparing based on various tickets that you're receiving. Like, for example, we use Freshdesk. So we keep enhancing based on the answers we do give to customers, a strong FAQ center. So like new customers will start finding their answers even before raising a case. Okay. So you can have your support team everyday activity create more and more FAQs around it. Have your guides, user guide, config guide, product guide, be as detailed, as screenshot as possible. Build a knowledge base as strong so that your support requirement is way less. That's the motto we go ahead with. And we have seen that the day and day we are building nice videos, nice guides, nice detailed screenshot of FAQs. We have seen that most of our app have become self apps. Like you hardly get customers reaching out to you only unless there's an issue or a bug. Then they reach out, and then of course with the less size of ticket your team receiving, they're able to answer more promptly to it. Okay, it's not that you're sold the app, so just we'll reply it later. Never, because for example, these are the ones who would leave review for you, and review also matters a lot in our AppExchange world, right? Review would speak a lot word. So the ones who are coming to you for support are the more high likely chances they will leave a review for you. So make the support as a great tool to get a 5-star glooming review by providing a great support and whatever they need actually.
Right. So as support, let's say somebody is building an app, how do you structure price of support in the app's pricing? Any tips on that?
No, actually, we have zero pricing on support. So let's say you're purchasing for 2 years, we give you support for 2 years. As simple as that. Yeah, the support would be what is in the app. If you're asking something additional over and above what app supports, like the Toyota example you said, then we'll involve the product team, start discussions around what they're requesting. It's an extra feature. And if you're adding in the app, of course, we'll have a separate pricing discussions, and then we'll charge them one-time fee, or we will charge them per year fee, or we'll charge them per license fee. So only supports which end up in making enhancements to the app, which are specific for that customer, but of course still are generic. Only those things we charge as part of enhancing the product. As part of support, we don't. But yes, you can define your support plan saying that 30 hours of support would be part of my app, and then over and above additional hours would be chargeable, something you can say. Right now, the term that we use is any support to the existing functionality would be at no cost till the period you have the license. Any additional enhancement would be charged if we are implementing inside the app.
Okay. And have you seen people do chatbot kind of support, like you have a chat prompt
Yes.
on AppExchange? What is your recommendation to ISVs on that part? Where and when is the right time to go there?
I think we are using Drift or something, a tool we are using. We have not integrated as inside our app yet. Okay, because that would bring a lot of support things. For example, I'm using the tool, and right there, if you have a chat option, I won't use my brain. I will simply reach out to you, how to do this. So something we haven't added that, but of course it does have its own advantages also, because a person might be using is not getting the results. So a chat might be an option. So now we have put a chat option on our various listing, or you can say order taking process, or on our listing we have clearly mentioned this is the chat tool. Yes, you should have a chat tool. Ensure whenever you're keeping it online, the team is there. Okay, don't have a chat tool online and no one is there to respond. It is actually even bad. So to answer the question around chatbot, actually, I would say on your app listing, now you can have an option where you can enable chatbot, which is offered by Salesforce itself. It's called something called as a qualified.com. And of course, it's part of Salesforce AMP program. So what Salesforce AMP is like, Salesforce does provide a lot of app exchange marketing tools, you can say, or paid tools. For example, they will create a video for you, or they will promote your listing. So they do charge certain amounts, and then they do it. As part of that, there's something called as a chatbot called qualified.com.
Okay.
So you as a partner can buy that, but of course it comes at a very good price of 15,000 USD per year, and I think it supports multiple listings. Once you purchase that on your listing on the appexchange.com, on your listing, a small chatbot would appear, and of course you need to have a team backend sitting. They will ask, of course, a customer visiting would ask questions, and you need to have a team to answer those questions. So you can surely invest that amount in that one, but then you need to see what is the ROI. So whenever you go to Salesforce to buy this qualified.com, ask them the proper ROI thing, that okay, how many customers I would get, what regions I would get, what is a similar metric for a customer for a similar app who's using. For example, let's say you're SMS company, you're coming with an SMS app. There's already an SMS listing for other company who's using qualified.com. You can ask their ROI, because that would help you, that can I invest 15,000?
One question here, like I've seen that kind of green dot coming on AppExchange, but typically a Salesforce admin, once it is running into an issue, will he or she will go to AppExchange on click on that green dot, or they will?
Good point, but this actually chatbot is more for the sales. Okay.
Okay, for initiating the order. And,
Yes, initially. Now coming to the support part of chatbot, we currently don't have. What we have done is we in the app also you can add chatbots. Okay. Whatever you're using intercom, whether you're using a drift or whether you're using a qualified.com, they come with a nice JS library and a small code of snippet that you can add as part of your managed package. So whenever they're opening your app in their Salesforce, the chatbot you can have a small icon or something pop up the chat, and it should initiate the chat conversation with your support team. But then that can bring you tons of requests. Do you have that big support team to address those many requests? Because while using the app, giving that option, of course, you need a strong team, and of course, you need to have those many clientele also to actually give that option and have a strong support team to address it. What we have done is, as part of every app, we provide a support option, right? As in, you can say a link or an icon where they can click, they go to an entire knowledge base. For example, we are using Freshdesk, where they can raise a support ticket, they have a phone number to reach out. That's it. We don't have a chat option there. And of course, it does have a tons of FAQs, guides, videos. So mostly we have seen that when you have such a strong knowledge base, the chat option is limited. Then it still works for customers. Okay, of course, chat is a real time, but then you need to have a strong team to be online if you're putting a chat tool, because having a simply offline chat tool won't help.
Correct. And I think you mentioned a script you can put in your app, but that script will create issues with Salesforce security review.
Yes, we never had, but logically every external JS library or whatever you include does need a security review, as very well said, right? For example, we are using an Amazon SDK, S3 SDK, we are using Azure SDK. So then some point those security review will happen, and then you have to some way see. For me, Amazon and Azure, they are like enterprise. So we never got great issues from them, but these small companies of chatbot might not that be secure. So that also is probably a demerit of including as part of your app. But then what you can do is, as I said, you can have a support icon take you to one of your portal or whatever, and there you can have a chat app option, like an external chat. Right now we only support ticket or a phone call. That, and of course the knowledge base. You can add an additional chat option also. But chat support option, we have seen people who come to chat, they actually get a prompt answers. Once they get prompt answer, the decision making or their way of trying become easier. More than a chat, we give an option of scheduling a demo or a call anytime. Okay, of course that also is limited to those 14-hour period. But then right inside app, instead of giving a chat, we have given an option to schedule a call, which of course takes to an external. We are not integrated, as you rightly said. It will again bring those security review constraints. So we just give a link which would open like Calendly or any other scheduler tool, and there the customer or prospect, anyone can schedule a call, take the demo or raise their queries, understand, get an answer. That's how we do.
Correct. So I think ISVs have learned a good deal on customer support, how to structure it. I think the best step is to create good documentation, FAQs, and demo videos, because videos really help. People don't like to read. And again, as
Yes.
Chirag said, you can have office hours kind of thing via Calendly, where people can schedule calls with you or your support team, and you can give demos. And moving towards the end of the talk now, there is I think, plethora of things I can extract from Chirag. He has a good deal of experience on ISV things, but I think for part one, I will say for this show, we'll come to an end. But before we cut, Chirag, any tip which you would like to share with ISVs, especially from India?
I would say go for it. Probably I being a product person, I would want many of us come with app ideas. Okay. Build apps. Keep the idea original, I would say. Of course, if you still like someone's idea and if you're building something, please redesign it in a way. Never ever copy it. Let's build a name that we, and of course, there are many tons of great products coming out of India also now. Okay. So we also have a platform. So then why shouldn't we do it? Build something which can be unique. We all have those skill sets to build things, then why not build it? And whatever you're building, please don't just build for the sake of putting it on AppExchange, because it's a product, it's not any solution. Okay. So try to make line strong, make it a scalable one. Always think while you're building that you're building it for hundreds of customers you're getting tomorrow. Trust me, if you're building an app by yourself with a great design, not copying, using the security standards, your support would be way, way, way less. And you would be only selling, not worrying about support at all. And that would help you to scale on a big terms day whenever you have a great sales team or whatever. Okay, so that's one tip I would say. Please go for it. AppExchange is a great place, and don't worry about the security review fees, or they are charging whatever, they're taking 15%. Always be happy of what you're receiving, that's 75% or 80%. Because I had few Indian partners who reaching out and saying, yeah, security review fees is high. How can I pay out of pocket? That's more like an investment. Okay, go for it. It's not that costly. Like $999 is not a big amount, I would say. If you have a
Less
vision,
than iPhone.
yes, less than iPhone, and we all Indians love iPhone, so we are spending more than that. So if you're putting effort in a product in terms of design execution, you can easily invest that much amount also. Okay, and then trust me, you will have customers reaching out to you, and of course, if you have a great product, it will sell. I would say that's it.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you, Chirag. And it's a lovely conversation. I think people definitely will benefit out of it. And one suggestion, if Salesforce is listening to us, please make checkout simple for Indian ISV partners.
Yes,
We want to
please.
innovate. We want to build a lot of apps, but please make checkout infrastructure easy for us. That being
Perfect.
said, thanks a lot, Chirag.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining the show, and thanks for sharing so many insights. We'll definitely connect again for more details.
Thank you, Abhinav, for hosting, helping me share this knowledge. It's good that hope it's beneficial for many, and of course, even I am able to see more podcasts coming out of you, and I also learn from other people who you talk to. Thanks for hosting me, Abhinav. Have a good day.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.